webinar. Welcome to Marie-Ève as well. So we're going to discuss here how to scale fundraising in a new era. And we all know there is a new era out there. And the angle we'd like to see here is the how to transform a global NGO to be really ready to address the challenges of a new era. So we are welcoming here Marie-Ève, who's Executive Director at Humanity and Inclusion.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you. And I'm Olivier here. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Allyy, a predictive AI tool for nonprofits. So when we talk about a new era, we'll have a chance to get a closer look. I mean, our angle in it is to how to do more with less and better than before, even though we have less resources to do it. And also rethinking how to operate in this new era. And that may mean different things that Marie-Ève will actually enlighten us about. And it can be about shared resources, AI and technology adoption, as to give a few examples. It may sound great on paper. It may not be that easy. And I think we all know this feeling, this nagging feeling of we know we need to transform, we need to change, but we are unsure in which direction to go. And at the same time, we all know there's a lot at stake and it doesn't make us more secure. So we know if we don't do it, there will be severe consequences, but still we haven't tried before. So we don't really know where to go. And we may also feel, maybe it's just individual, maybe Marie-Ève, you don't think in this way, but you may be feeling that you're not fitted to the job also in the extreme case. Hopefully, now, Marie-Ève, you are in the middle of a lot of this transformation, and I would really like to have this conversation with you. And what is your take in this, and what is it that other organizations actually can learn and benefit from in the days and weeks and months to come? Before we get there, Marie-Ève, can you let us know a little bit about yourself and the organization you are representing?
Thank you very much, Olivier, and thank you very much for bringing this topic, indeed, which is quite a challenge. I'm very happy to share with you today. I am Marie-Ève Bugnet. I'm 44 years old, and I've been working at HI, Humanity and Inclusion, I'm also known as Handicap International in Europe. I've been the private fundraising director for the past 15 years of this organization. And I'm now the executive director of the French branch of HI, based in Lyon. Our organization has 40 years of existence, sorry. We are an international NGO, international charity, working and helping towards the most vulnerable of this world, especially with disabled children and adults, disabled people. We are working around more than 50 countries all over the world in the Global South. And we are very proud of having an international recognition around the Nobel Peace Prize that we obtained with the ICBL campaign around landmines in 1997. It is a very special campaign, especially today, since a few countries are thinking about leaving the Ottawa Treaty, which we obtained to ban the use and the production of landmines. We are going to talk about fundraising today, but we know that we have many issues around international solidarity. The comeback of the war is one of these issues, and the access to the different countries we are working in is another issue, alongside to the fundraising issues. So many challenges that we are having at the moment around international solidarity. A lot of challenges, but still a global impact that is good to be noticed. We serve in 59 countries today, with a little bit more or less 450 different projects, helping millions of beneficiaries every year that we support directly. And we also work with local staff. Localization is very important for an organization like HI, and we are very proud to still be part of this global world that we are living in.
Thank you, Maiev. Thank you for that. Then I think that's a good starting point to actually go into how to scale fundraising in this new area. So I have a few questions I would like to ask you. And what I would like to start is due to the global situation. I mean, HI is into a turnaround. And I would like to know more about this. Explain us what and why and how to succeed through it.
Yeah. To answer this, I think it's important for everyone to understand the business model of an NGO like HI. If you don't mind, during this presentation, I will talk about the NGO HI. So again, Humanity and Inclusion, or Handicap International, Handicap International for the most French people of us. So yes, again, the business model of an NGO like HI is based on two pillars. One first pillar, which is based on institutional fundings, basically all the money, the fundings that are coming from the states or the different Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And another pillar that is based on private fundraising, private fundings, gifts coming from the general public, major gifts coming from philanthropists, also including donations and legacies and donations from companies. So two pillars, one based on institutional funding, public money, and another one based on private gifts. Today, the international solidarity model is undertaking a crisis, or you call it a turnaround, because it's a major crisis. And the crisis has different angles. Again, it can be a crisis around having access to the people that we are supposed to our beneficiaries, to the people that we are helping, but it's also a crisis around financial crisis. Again, one of the pillars is institutional money. It has drastically changed over the last few years, and it has been accelerated over the last few months. I think everyone has the example of the closing of USAID, the government of America that closed this bureau. It was a massive closing and a massive announcement that has been made now a year and a few months ago. If I take the example of HI, HI lost 30 million euros or dollars within a few days after the closing and after this decision of the US government. It's not only the US government, most of the governments are changing the way they are distributing money. And it has a major impact on the global impact that I've just presented for HI, but for the whole solidarity, international solidarity sector. And so what we have to succeed today is to reinvent the model, reinvent the funding model as well, and make sure that our second pillar, if I just explain you that the first pillar is in great difficulty, make sure that the second pillar is still strong, not to create a crisis within the crisis.
Yeah, makes sense. Thank you for that. So you are not alone in this, because if we talk turnaround, I mean, it's the whole organization. Tell us a bit about the board attention as well, how useful, important it is, and when is it that fundraising became such a topic as well? I guess it's more than ever today, but tell us a bit about this.
So this is an interesting question, and I feel like since you asked this question, I feel like we are a bit lucky, I think, at HI, or maybe clever and lucky. Let's take both. Because I have been working for HI for 15 years now, and as far as I remember, fundraising has always been a topic, a board level topic, a topic of interest for our board members. So in that sense, I've been always very lucky in the way I could report to the board and the way they are interested in what is happening in fundraising in our organization. But maybe one thing that has changed recently, and I've noticed it over the past month, I would call it the willingness of our board members to take part into activities of fundraising. Again, since the beginning, I've always felt the interest in monitoring the activity of private fundraising and to understand this activity. But since a few months, I now notice the willingness of our board members to open their network, to open doors so that our fundraising teams can have direct access to high net worth individuals. And this is really helping us in, again, making sure that our second pillar of the business model stays healthy and does not create a crisis into the crisis. So again, our board members always had a real interest in private fundraising, but now they are more willing to help us in achieving our ambitions.
It sounds really good. Not like that it's becoming a company
Exactly.
project.
Exactly.
Yeah, very good, very good. But then, I mean, I understand then activating the board can be a priority in Fundraising Boost. Can you tell us about other priorities and what are the buttons you can push that you haven't pushed before in order to get some growth on the second pillar, as you said?
Yeah. My main priorities with the team is to achieve our goal. We make a commitment at the beginning of each year to reach this level of margin. And so my main priority is to achieve this. Again, it will be my leitmotif during all this conversation. If we don't reach our objective, we are creating a crisis in the crisis. So we need to stay where we committed to be. And for this to happen, I see two main priorities. The first one would be to increase our revenues. It's very basic, but again, it makes sense. Increase our revenues and decrease our costs. Increase our revenues, it's quite hard. We know that we don't have many available donors around on the market, so we have to fight hard and to work hard to understand how to reach those new donors, but also decreasing our costs for an organization that has an experience of 40 years of activity. It may seem difficult to continue to optimize something that has been running for such a long time and that has been optimized over the years since many years. But still it works. We are trying to reinvent ourselves every day, to think outside of the box. And you were mentioning tips while we were preparing this discussion. You were mentioning tips. I can maybe give you one tip, which is a behavior that I'm chasing every day in my teams that may be called routine. And I often ask the question, and it's a true story. Yeah? I often ask the question, why do you do this or why do you do that? And if the answer is because my predecessor has always done this, or because we have always done like that, it triggers an alert in my head, and then I go further and further to see behind the initial question. So then I don't accept this answer. It's not because your predecessor has always done it like this, that you should continue to do it like this. And so by asking those questions, we saved a lot of money last year to rethink everything. It's a bit tiring for the teams. Sometimes they hate me, I think, but it's bringing fruits. So in the end, it's good.
Okay, that's good. Then you're fighting against nature, because we have all these habits as part of our nature. But one other thing also that is a button that some organizations also have identified. I mean, if you look at what is it that is now that was not there 10 years ago,
Yes.
technology, AI, innovation, is something definitely that can be used. So I know you have also a lot of initiatives and thoughts at HI. Can you share your view on this, on technology AI, and what experience so far, and how you're implementing innovation as well?
And you are right making the links between the two questions here, because it's also a way to save time and money using technology and AI. So for sure, the role of technology is central, as well as the role of data is central at HI, and I believe in every organization we are running. Without a performant and clean database, for example, and with a skilled and committed data analyst team alongside to this database, I would not be able to reach year after year the commitments that I was just mentioning before, the commitment that we take in terms of reaching our objectives and that we take in our budgets. As I said before, we need to reinvent ourselves in this crisis, and AI, you've just mentioned it, is an excellent way to achieve this. Maybe I can share with you two examples of a recent experience that we had with AI at HI. One of them, you know it by heart because it's with you, with Allyy. We worked with you on different bureaus of private fundraising at HI, and we managed to find ways to optimize our segmentations thanks to AI and to predictive behaviors in gifts. And here, the magic of it is that it replies to both of our strategic priorities. It both increases the revenues and reduces the costs because we send less solicitations to less people, so it reduces the costs. So that's the first experience that we had with AI, thanks to you. Another one has been done in Switzerland. So the first one was in Belgium, in Germany, in France. The second one was in Switzerland with a pro bono firm who kindly accepted to work with us and to develop a prompt for us to be more efficient in the way we filter the private foundations which are compatible with the social mission of HI. We have dozens and dozens of private foundations existing on the Swiss market, but they are not all compatible with what we are doing in the field and with what we are selling in a way. And so thanks to this prompt through AI, which we were not able to do by ourselves, not because we don't use AI every day, but because this prompt needed to be made by an expert. It took the expert several weeks to develop this prompt. And in the end, we tested it and it's working very well. And it allowed us to save hundreds of hours of researches and to narrow down the funnel that we are having to reach out to the right foundations. So two examples that are very effective and that helps us to reduce our costs and to increase our revenues.
Very good. That's very concrete to the point with direct bottom line effect, which was what we're looking at here. And so, I mean, that's always the thing when you come with the good ideas and you demonstrate the business case, then the next question is always about scaling, about speed, adoption. And so how can you do that? Because you need to try new things. You want to scale them. You cannot, I mean, let us know how you deal with this approach of scaling speed and adoption.
Yes, and everyone is in a rush. Everyone wants to have the right answer at the right just tomorrow. Everything is at speed. But what we do here is everything is based on test and learn. Everything is also based on our capacity to accept failure. And so the way I work with my teams is that everyone has the right and the capacity to have a good idea. Everyone can meet the right person at the right moment, have a brilliant idea and test it. So we have a small budget to, we have the current budget, and then we have a small budget to try new things. Going back to the importance of data and to data analysis, every time we launch a test, we make sure we have the right analysis of this test, because if we don't analyze the results, then there's no point in making this test. We adapted the test. Maybe the first time was not the right one, so we adapt it and then we go back to testing again. And once we found the right way to deploy the new things that we are testing, then we propose it to the rest of the fundraising teams. Again, they are not all in the same countries, and we see if it's replicable. Of course, not everything is replicable, but most of it is. And so we take time, accept failure, and we have a mix of being reactive and patient as well. It takes, again, a lot of patience, even for a company, an NGO, that has 40 years of experience with the presence of 50 different countries. We can imagine that when we find a good idea, it's not that easy to deploy it everywhere. And so accept failure, test, learn, and understand that even though we are in a fast-changing world, we are here running a marathon, and not make sure that we don't want to be too quick on what we want to change. Reactive but patient.
At the same time, you are both head of fundraising globally, and you also executive director of the largest country, which is France. So you have this view on what needs to be standardized and what can be global, what can be local. Can you tell us a bit more about how you work with this, being centralized and decentralized, please?
Yes, of course. I've just mentioned test and learn and the capacity of each of our countries to have good ideas. Fortunately, HQ doesn't have the monopoly of having the good ideas, for far from it. And so we give everyone the capacity to make tests when they have the idea. Tests can be made at local, and it's quite often that locally we make sure that we have the capacity to make those tests. And once those tests have been proven right, then we follow the capacity of HQ to standardize the solution and to deploy it to all the countries where it can be deployed and where it can be replicated. I think that one best example here would be the deployment of our common system to deal with our websites and our common CRM, common database. Before, we didn't have one single way of dealing with our websites. We had 8 stories or 15 stories of Handicap International, of HI, 8 different ways or 10 different ways of dealing with content in our different websites. Not a unique, a single database, not a real CRM. We decided to test it in different countries, and then once it was tested, to duplicate and to create a common CRM and a common CMS, content management system. And we started to deploy it. It's here when you talked about speed adoption. It took us, I would say, 5 years to deploy it to all our countries. So people who are working in large database would say that 5 years was an exploit because it was very fast. When you live it, it's very long, and when you are waiting for your tool to be deployed, it's very long. But last year, the deployment has stopped, has been finished, and it was the greatest news that I could have, because falling into this financial crisis with this CRM, it's exactly why we are now able to mutualize things and mutualize when our data analysis team, who is working for all the network, is inventing something for one of our bureaus. It's very easy to deploy it to all the others because of this, thanks to this common system. So it took us a long time, very many years to deploy our common systems, but again, here we are very happy to have those common systems, and it's the exact answer to local versus standardized. We start testing locally, and then we can standardize with the strength of the HQ.
But at the same time, it sounds as if you came into the crisis with the strength, because you already had made some fundamental changes. And you mentioned, for example, this with the CRM. And for me, it evokes me one of the quotes you have in business school, which is change before you have to, which has been the case here. Then you're ready when the change is actually needed. And talking about change management, can you give us a little bit about some recipes? Because HR, that's 5,000 employees, changes cannot just happen overnight to everyone. So can you tell us a little bit about how you proceed and how you make change? Actually, these changes will be implemented, will be understood, and will be taken in by the organization.
Well, unfortunately, I don't think there is one recipe for change management. In my experience, I believe change management is the most difficult part of the project, which may be weird because the projects in themselves are very hard technically. But you can have the best idea ever. If your colleague does not believe in it, it won't work. So change management is really at the core system of everything. And I believe that it should be thought at the beginning of the project and not at the end. Otherwise, it's quite rare for it to work. In my experience, I remember two words for healthy change management, which are communication and, I would say, evidence by results. If I take the example that what we are doing right now, I could spend hours explaining you that you should use another system for the webinar that we are doing at the moment, that you would use another system to film this interview, but you won't agree because you are used to this system and your teams prefer this system and they know how it works. And so I could spend hours trying to explain you something different. Instead of this, I could organize another webinar with the system I suggest you to use, make sure that you have a wonderful experience with it, that should work, and ask you to react on the new experience that I've proposed to you. Then you would feel empowered, you would make your own choice and be the one who decides. Again, here, we were talking about speed and adoption. This takes time and it's not easy at all. But I really believe, and I've experienced this in the past, that it's the best way to create a long-lasting change. Instead of telling you should change, evidence by results and prove what we are saying.
So it must require also a lot of energy and repetition. Then I can imagine. I can imagine. Now, this is the situation today. Can you tell us how you see the future of fundraising within the next 5 years? How do you see it develop? What do you think will be very, very important to succeed?
So that's the question. Everyone is asking this question, and everyone would have to have the crystal ball. Huh?
Yes. What do you see in the crystal ball?
Yeah. My belief is that we are going from volume to value. I think that everyone working in fundraising at the moment understands and sees that on the markets, and whatever the markets, we have less and less donors, but who are giving more and more. Portfolios of donors will have shrinked or are shrinking at the moment, and in 5 years it will be even more reduced. But the average gift will have risen. And so where we have to succeed is creating the right offer and the right model to attract high-value philanthropists, because again, moving from volume to value means that we are going to reach out to high net worth individuals, philanthropists. And a second problem will be or a second challenge, let's not call it a problem, it's to do this with less and less resources. And so reaching out to the right people who are going to be less and less present in the market, but giving more and more. And here, coming back to everything that we've said before, I really believe on the strength of AI to reach this. We are going to have less and less resources, Again, I don't believe that AI is going to replace human decisions, but I really see AI in this run from volume to value as a system allowing us to gain time and to take quicker decisions on where we should go.
But I would definitely tend to agree upon this as a very focused use of AI on specific tasks, augmentation of what the team is able to do now. Marie-Ève, thank you very much. We are reaching the end of this webinar, of this conversation, or maybe not the end. Feel free, please, to connect. I mean, this QR code will send you to my LinkedIn, where I will gather some questions and introduce then Marie-Ève to the conversation. Also, Marie-Ève, thank you to you. I know also that you're also very humble in general at HR as well. So make no mistake. I mean, you're also very, very successful in addressing the real challenge and transforming them and getting really, really good results out of it. So thank you for sharing this experience, and hopefully that will also help other organizations on the way. So thank you very much for today.
It was my pleasure, and thank you for listening to me. Thank you.